sent me out a lot of different questions. They all kind of pertain to the same thing about pace of play, and the things that she kind of touched base on are when you have you're having trouble getting out of a bunker. Like number one, number two, you know, let's say you have a tough time putting on the green. You know, when is it appropriate to just pick up your ball and just go move on to the next hole? And I think the other one is like how many practice swings to take out there. And, you know, just to kind of talk about, you know, pace of play, what we try to do is just, you know, when it's out there, and one of the things that when you're out there, you're playing golf and you're really trying to, um, you know, just play the game. And it's not meant for practicing and those kind of things. So, like, the maximum I would ever recommend anybody taking a practice swing for is really one golf swing. And primarily, and the reason why I say that is that you're primarily doing the same swing, it's just with a different club all the time, and it's a full swing. The only time I actually take a practice swing for me, but this is, I mean, this is where I am in my game now, is really when I do like short shots. You know, whether it's like 30-yard pitch shots onto the green, little chip shots onto the green, bunker shot, that those kind of things. That's when I start taking one or two practice swings in there, and that's kind of how I like to kind of reserve my time. So I play fast all the way up until I get to the green. Maybe I might take an extra 15 seconds just to take a practice swing on something. Um, One of the things that you can do when you're out there is actually when my partner, the person I'm playing with, whether if I'm playing with CJ or if I'm playing with Travis or even Suzanne, is to uh, take my practice swings while they're hitting, and especially if I'm not right next to them. So I can get all the swings I want in if I'm ready to go. So once they've hit their golf ball, then I can address the golf ball, look at what I'm trying to do, and then go and hit. And so that's probably one of the biggest things that we see out there as golf professionals is that we see a lot of people waiting. You know, DJ will hit his golf shot, and then myself or Travis will be waiting to have him hit his golf shot, and we haven't even taken the time to find out how far we are from the flag. We don't already have the club in our hand that we want to use. I think those are the things that uh, we as golfers could be so much better at. And those are the things, you know, whether I hit the ball 10 feet or if I hit it, you know, 100 yards, that doesn't really matter as much as if you're ready to play golf when it's your turn. So, um, yeah.
I
So,
find if I
sorry, I had some people asking for passwords. So anyway, that is probably one of the biggest things about why pace of play is so slow is that everybody waits for everybody else to hit a shot before they hit theirs, instead of just going ahead and getting the information they need, whether it's walking over to the sprinkler head to find out the yardage, using your cart to figure out the yardage, and already having a game plan before it is your turn to hit. And that's really what's important about pace of play. So the practice swings, I limit it to one maximum. I try to tell my students that because I think it's better just go with what you know you practice when you're up on the range, and that's the reason why you come to the range, you practice, you take your lessons. Those are the things that you do when you come out to the golf course. You're here to play golf and just enjoy it. Some days you're gonna have a good day, and some days you're not. I think the more you get wrapped up in trying to make everything perfect, that's when things start slowing down, and that's traditionally what we have um, issues with. Secondly, you get into the sand. We had this conversation today in our ladies program, so we have a lot of new golfers and we have a lot of experienced golfers. I don't know if you've ever been in the 18th bunker here at Hillcrest, but I've been in it before, and it's pretty steep. And so I've had that opportunity where I've hit a ball and the ball never got back out, or I spun it back into the bunker. And so I will generally, and CJ will attest to this, and so will Travis, is that if I've hit it two or three times and I can't get it out, I'm pretty much going to just throw it out, or I'm just going to pick it up, and that hole is done. And you know, I will take my max score and just walk away from it, because there's no sense beating your head against the wall to try to get the ball out, because all it's going to do is it's delaying the other three players in your group from playing playing golf. So, and then I think the thing about like trying to find your golf ball, you know, with and how many putts you should take. I think it's all kind of it's up to your group and where they are in their game in their skill level. So like if I'm playing with Karen Sandler and Debbie Love, all those ladies, they may you know want to put out everything, and it's pretty quick because the max scores that they take are sixes and sevens. But if your skill set's a little different, where your low score is a 7 or an 8, and then you know you can max out at 10, 11, and 12, there's really no sense in just keep making the scores go higher and higher, because it's not fun to shoot a 12 and to just to complete the hole, and you took 3 putts to put it in the hole, or 4 putts to put it in the hole. So I think a lot of that has to do with the tee choices that we pick. I know a lot of the women here play from the 4 tees, but we do have 2 other sets of tees out on the golf course that that we recommend people to play if they're kind of new to the game. And I would strongly encourage, if you ever want to know where they are, we can show you. There's a little map on them. They're considered our junior golf tees, but we use them for all our golfers that are that don't hit the ball as far as they used to, and so you can actually get a handicap from them. So there's no I guess stigmatism to playing from our orange and blue tees that we have out on the golf course. They're rated from the USGA, and it's a lot of fun. And it's actually you start seeing the game, because one of our goals for all our golfers is that they can break 50 for 9 holes, and that's a strong goal. And and I think just getting that confidence around the greens, because if you look at it from everybody's perspective, I think
Okay.
in 2 or 3 shots on almost every hole that we have. If you look at all our par 3s, you're there within 2 shots. Same thing with the par 4s and the par 5s. You're there within 1 shot of the par on that hole. And so if you look at the golf course and say, okay, well, if I am, I want to play bogey golf or double bogey golf, well, where can I pick up my most of my shots? And I would tell you it's around the greens. It's that time you get into that bunker, and it takes you 3 or 4 shots to get that out. And once you get it out, it takes 3 or 4 shots to put it in. Those are the things that as a group that we can get better at, is our short game. Our swing is our swing, and those will develop over time. But the biggest way to improve our pace of play and to maximize and actually you'll see improvements in your golf game is around the greens. It's just being able to, when you chip, that the ball's not going to go scooting across the green and then find its way into the bunker, and vice versa. So, and then a couple other questions that Linda had brought up is this: if your ball disappears in the rough, I mean, it's kind of like a golf ball that goes out of bounds. You have 3 minutes to look for it. And so
3 minutes?
Yeah, 3 minutes is the rule. So, either you're going back to the tee to hit another shot, or that's typically that's why we have, hopefully when you have a caddy out there, they're keeping an eye on your golf balls if you take a caddy out there. But you definitely have to pay attention to where your golf ball goes, because I think a lot of people in general, it's just they hit a golf ball and they see it go to the rough, and they're like, oh, okay, great. But they don't really take a chance to look at the landmark that it's next to. So they could actually be looking for the ball in all the wrong area. And that's always I find that a very that happens all the time, is that people are looking either too far ahead or too short, and so they don't realize that their golf ball is actually in the rough, but they're in a totally wrong area to be looking for it. And then I think obviously one of the biggest things that we have here at the club, and it affects all the groups. And so I think it's important that when you get into the Crestview area, where we access food, with the way COVID is working these days, Crestview doesn't run as fast as it used to. And the reason why is that you can only serve one person at a time. And so what I would do is if you're teeing off on hole 5, or if you're teeing off on hole 8, I would have 1 or 2 people go and tee off. The other people go and grab some food or drinks, whatever it is. If you have one person designated to order for everybody, I think that's a good thing, because then all you have to do is then go up there and grab whatever you wanted. So, if it was a group of 4 of us and I said, hey, CJ, Travis, John, what do you want? And one person says orange Gatorade, one says Diet Coke, perfect. We'll, I might even pick up the tab for that one, but just that way the bartender knows what everybody wants. They get that ready, and then she can put that, Ballista can put that on everybody's individual tab, and easy enough. And then that way one person's going to get everything while everybody else is teeing off. And so those are the things that we do when we're out there playing golf, because I'll send if I'm out there with my caddy, I'll ask him, do you want a bottle of water, that kind of thing. And I send them ahead so that way they're forecading, making sure where the golf balls are. It's always about trying to get that group moving and keep them moving. And it's just important to kind of just help each other out. And, you don't have to send all 4 people up there to get the food, to order it. You can just have one person ordering it while the other people are teeing off. Then they can switch the roles and go pick up their food and have it ready. So those are some things I think that when you're out there, pace of play is important. We're out there actively trying to monitor it. We see it on the weekends that, when a group falls behind, especially with our new walking policy, for the groups that are under 60, the carts sometimes actually play faster than the people walking. But also, the walkers, if they get into little issues with the where their golf ball goes, they have trouble sometimes. And so we're out there trying to help them out and to move them along. But I think it's a team effort. It's not just one person saying, hey, we got to play faster. Hey, it's us collectively. Your foursome knows, hey, we shouldn't play more than 12 to 13 minutes per hole. I mean, that's honestly the speed of what we like to play the golf. So when we think about the front 9 and the back 9, it should take 2 hours to play each side. And just keep that in mind. I mean, it feels very rushed at first, but once you get into that like rhythm, it will actually feel pretty natural. So one of the big things I taught my wife when I first started teaching her to play golf back in 2004 was she, just being able to take a practice swing and just keep playing while, she's ready to hit when after I hit, or she's ready to hit after someone else in our group has hit. She's already there at her golf ball, knows what she's going to do, and she's very decisive. And I think so now when we actually go to the golf courses, and if we play over 3.5 hours, she gets frustrated for playing so slow. So it's kind of interesting. She felt very rushed when we first started doing that, and now she really enjoys it because it doesn't take up the entire day. And we want to enjoy golf. We definitely want to be out there. I chit chat with my friends while we're playing golf. We're walking down the fairway. If you're walking, obviously we can't really ride in carts together. But if I'm trying to catch up with somebody, I try to do that more when I'm over lunch. When you're on the golf course, you might talk about different things that you see, what's on the golf course, about the last birdie and stuff like that. But it's not there for to sit down and have a conversation and talk about what's going on. And obviously, I know a lot of us haven't seen each other in such a long time, so it's kind of nice to kind of reminisce. And I would recommend getting to the club a little bit early, and just kind of that way you can chat up on the range. And when you get out in the golf course, you're playing golf, and you can chit chat about different things along the way. But CJ, you got anything to add?
I mean, yeah, Chris, you covered just about all of it. But my biggest thing whenever I'm playing golf here or somewhere else, the biggest thing is that I see is when people aren't prepared to hit that shot. So you got 4 people, one person's hitting their shot, and then once that person hits, that next farthest person, when it's their turn, then that's when they shoot their yardage or select their club. And that all that stuff can be prevented. The three people who are up next can have all that stuff ready by the time they hit that shot. And I think that is the biggest area to improve your pace of play is to be prepared when it's your turn to hit. And just like Chris said, you could have that practice swing or practice swings done when someone is hitting that's farther away from you. So I think that's very valuable to keep your pace of play and keep up with the group in front and to keep up. So that's my 2 cents there. And that way you can all at least take your time a little bit when you get to your ball and not feel that rush. Because once it is your turn, then you can go ahead and hit that shot. So I think that's a big one for a pace of play and keeping that pace without feeling rushed.
And can I just suggest one other thing? I think that if it's not a tournament or something that really matters, to play ready golf really does speed it up rather than waiting for someone that's way off the side somewhere and you're already in place and can hit your ball and get out of the way.
I'll speak to that. Yeah, I was Diane. In regards to that, what I was going to say helps pace of play is whether you're walking or driving a cart, putting your bag or the cart in a good spot that's going to be intercepted from you coming off the green and onto the next tee, because a lot of the time gets wasted with where the cart gets left or where the cart gets parked, especially if you don't hit the shot that was expected and it only goes 10, 20 yards in front of you guys there. Then the cart falls 20 yards behind. So as long as you have it's hard to do a team effort with COVID unless you're living in the same house, but parking in the spot where you think you might run into your cart or your bag in anticipation of the next shot. And I think that saves a good amount of time as well. Sorry, I can't.
Could I ask?
But
I've got something on my screen and I don't have Chris and CJ. I've got TB.
Yeah, that's me. I'm at my house and I've been trying to get my computer to get the camera going and I press start video. This is only my second Zoom call, so get used to it here. But yes, that's me. This is Travis, TB.
Hey, Travis.
Oh,
So Linda, I don't know, I think Travis is right on. We talked about it in our class today, is that where we leave our clubs is an important piece.
Yeah.
You have to look at where you're going to exit. So like on hole number 1, you don't leave them at the front of the green because you're going to exit to the right of the green. So you would leave them so you're going to walk over them. So you're not backtracking back and forth, because typically there's always a group behind you when you're playing. And if you leave your clubs back on one side of the green, you're having to go the other way, then you've actually put them in a bad spot, because now they're going to wait 2 to 3 minutes just for you to go back, get your clubs, then to walk across the green again, then grab your cart and kind of mosey on over to the next tee. And so those are the things I think they're second nature to me. They're probably second nature to CJ. And that's what we see, like how you can improve. It's just, how can I be, what can I do to make everything a little bit more calm and I don't feel like I'm rushed out there.
Right. We have to pay attention to our logistics, where we leave the cart, where we set clubs down, where we want to conserve as much as we can, right?
And then I think the final question Linda had here is, will caddy help? And, I think it does. I mean, I think there's a lot of benefits to having a caddy out there. It all depends on what your group wants to do.
Oh, can somebody mute their call that's talking in the background?
So I think it's important. I mean, the caddies help in locating golf balls. So you're when you go there, they've already located all 4 golf balls out of the group. They know, hey, Miss Sandowski, you are 100 yards from the green. Miss Sands, you are 80 yards from the green. So everybody can already start thinking about, okay, what kind of club do I want to hit, get to the green, and that kind of thing. And so that's how a caddy can kind of speed up play if they're very effective at that. And one of the things during these winter months are definitely working on the training, helping them with the green reading. I think over half of our staff that we have on property right now, I would say are very good green readers. I've been out with them personally. A lot of our new staff, I was very impressed with what they've done with understanding the greens. And obviously, you're going to have a caddy every once in a while it's going to get confused on the green and not really understand it breaks left or it breaks right and that kind of thing. So it's just you know, I do see caddies being helpful in moving groups along, locating clubs and moving you know, just getting golf balls and stuff like that.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so is everyone going to be getting these comments and rules that you're telling us? Because what if you're out there playing with people and they're very slow? What's the etiquette without being rude?
Well, unfortunately, it's all on how the message is delivered. There's a couple ways to do that. If you're very friendly with them, so like you know, sometimes I've seen different women have that talk with their friends, and it's gone over well. And then other times, you know, it's better to be left up to the golf professional staff. So what I've seen is I've seen someone say, hey, you know, make a phone call to the golf shop, say, hey, can you come help us out? Our group seems like they're a little out of position. I'm trying to get the group going, but you know, I don't want to be rude. And you know, we're happy to come out there and help you out. If you realize that your group's kind of moving, and that way it doesn't look like we don't single somebody out with their slow play, but we also try to help them out in bringing an attention to it. So like one of the things that we do as a group here with the staff is that we'll look after like 4 holes. If we have a concern about a group, you know, we're going to let you tee off, get out there, at least get a couple holes under wraps. But if by the 3rd hole, if we see that the next group's on 5T, we're going to probably talk to you in the middle of the 3rd hole and say, hey, we need to kind of pick it up, and you already have a hole open in front of you. It's only been 45 minutes or an hour. And so those are, you know, but sometimes, you know, it has to be brought to our attention. So if you call the golf shop, it's not a big deal. You can actually on your computer screen on your Visage, you can actually what do I want to say? You can actually send us a message with the request that having someone kind of take a look at the golf course. So,
can you tell us how you find that on the screen?
It's just in the golf center. It's under you go under settings. It's just a message to the golf shop.
I'm pretty sure there's a blue button in the lower right-hand corner that says send message, but
yeah.
Hey, Chris, can you remind us the distance that you should be behind the group in front of you, just to kind of help assess when you're falling behind pace?
So if I was out there playing, I would always want to be walking. So the group should be on the, let's say I'm on a par 4. They should be on the green when I'm teeing off. So when I'm on my ball, they should be teeing off on the next hole. So I should always have them in my purview. They should basically be a shot and a half out in front of me. So when I'm walking to, you know, hit my shot from 150 yards, they have just walked off the green and they're going to the next hole. So that's it shouldn't be like, oh, they're just they're a whole hole in front of us, so we're not out of position. No, that's not correct. That's actually, you're falling behind in the pace of play. And so that what happens is then that if you have a rough hole, like 2 holes later, next thing you know, you're a hole and a half behind. And then it's, you know, it puts some people into a frenzy, and they get really, they start really speeding up, and then actually their golf goes south because of it, because they are rushed. So that's why you always want to kind of keep it up.
Chris, I think you have to emphasize, because it's not the people behind us that we should be concerned about. It's where replacement is and what people in front of us, correct?
That's absolutely correct. That's
Right.
I always look forward. There's no reason to look backwards. You know, what you did on the last shot does not matter. You know, you know, it's like when we get into the bunker and you know, let's just say I'm kind of new, or you know, bunkers are just a struggle for me. I'm already have it in my mind. I'm going to take 2 shots at it. And if I can't get it out, the 3rd one's going to be a throw, because there's no reason to keep pounding my head against the wall because, we'll help you out, whether it's taking a golf lesson, coming to one of our golf classes that we have, those kind of things. We can help you with the bunkers. I think today we had a number of the women here in our class today that worked out of the bunkers, and it's challenging from bunker to bunker. You get one with a super high lip, you get one with no lip. There's so many different variations, and it's hard to get that experience and feel confident that when you walk into that bunker that you don't have that oh crap kind of moment. You're like, oh crap, I'm in the bunker again, and next thing you know, you hit the ball and it wedges into the lip or it goes flying across the green, things like that. And that takes experience, but you need to be relaxed when you're out there and have that confidence, and that will help with your pace of play, because you just don't want to feel rushed, and that's probably the key. That's whenever they see us come walking around, they're like, oh, we're out of position, and then they get flustered, and that's not fun for you either. I mean, we're trying to have a great golf experience out here, and that's the goal.
The reason I made my comment is sometimes people say to me, but the people behind us aren't creeping up to us. They're fine. And that's my comment to why I asked you to repeat it, because it's not where the people are from behind us.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia brings up a good point. So the other day, I played with a member and a couple guests, and we played on Tuesday afternoon. We teed off at 12:45. We didn't get off the tee till 1 o'clock. It was already slow. The group at 12:12 was playing, and since the group behind them wasn't right on them, they just kind of slowed down. And what happened is actually slowed down the entire golf course. They didn't realize how much it slowed everything down. And we played in 4 hours and 45 minutes on a Tuesday afternoon, which, you think it's just the women. Sometimes it happens with the men. It's all about, like, just because the second group doesn't push the group in front of them, if I had that other group, that the lead group, actually the Rabbits, was playing at the 4-hour pace, everybody else is going to play at that same 4-hour pace. But if that group kind of slows down and plays in 4 hours and 20 minutes, 4 hours and 30 minutes, it slows everybody down, because no one realizes what time it is. They're just having a good time out there on the golf course. And so that's why it's important to, as a group, hey, we teed off at 1 o'clock, we should be making the turn at 3 o'clock, and really strive to do that. It will be a challenge if you don't do that already with your groups. It will definitely be a challenge at the beginning, but in the end, you will enjoy golf a lot more, because you don't feel like you're spending all day out there. So, I mean, I would say if you play with Virginia Moss, you play with Joan Tampkin, Tanya, I mean, these women, Karen Sandler, all these women, they have a good time out there. They play quickly, but they also, I mean, I see Miss Tampkin out there telling some jokes here and there, and they're good stories. But you can have the social side to it, but you can also still play fast. So.
And Chris, when do you let the people, if you feel like the people in back of you are coming up upon you too quickly, when would you let them play on in front of you?
Well, there's a couple things. Depending on the day you're playing here, that may not be an option. So some days in with COVID, what we have seen is that our members have gone from 1 to 2 days a week playing golf to 4 and 5 days a week. So our golf course is so packed. So that may or may not be an option. And what I usually do is I will, if I feel like our group is out of position, I kind of take a look at like the 2 or 3 holes behind us. And that's a great thing about our golf courses. You can see almost everywhere. If you're on the front 9 or the back 9, you can kind of see where people are. And if you just see there's a twosome behind you and you're 4, and there's really nobody in front of you, it might be just as easy on the 4th hole. Say, hey, you know what? We're going to play the 4th hole. Just when you're ready, just let us know and we'll wave you through. They'll play the 4th hole. And if you are that group playing through, what I usually tend to do, and this is the part we're trying to educate people on, is that you're playing through. You shouldn't slow up the group that you're playing through on. So, you're hitting your shot onto the green. You take one putt, and if it's pretty close, you just take that away, and you take your 3 or you take your 4, and you walk, and you go right to the next tee and you tee off, because you can't say, hey, I'm going to play through and then stop to go get something at Crestview. It doesn't work both ways. and you need to get yourself out in front of them, and then you can make that turn on 7 and spend 5 minutes at Crestview and get yourself a drink and things like that. So there are times and there are ways to get people through, but that is I think it's a learned experience on that one. Because if you make that decision on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday, it's probably not the right decision to let a group play through. I think your group needs to play faster. And you can see it on the tee sheet before you tee off in the morning. You'll see how many groups are right behind you. You can look at it right there. And if you see there's a lot of groups behind you, you can't let the train go through. But if there's nobody behind you.
So Chris, what do you do if they ask you? Sometimes.
Well, my first thing is hey, I would tell them, say, let me see if we can pick it up in 1 or 2 holes. If we can do that, if not, then we'll let you guys go through. And I think most people will be pretty receptive to something like that, because you're now aware the group wants to go through. And if you don't feel comfortable making that and can't keep up with the pace that you need to keep up with, then you may need to let that group through or even skip a hole, to make that happen. So
yeah,
I got something to add to
yeah,
that.
It all depends on how busy we are on that day. I mean, each day is different. So
I would also say, to answer the question about playing through, if it's asked, and it has to happen, the best time to absolutely do it is right when you get off the green. Everyone in your group hits your tee shots and you're out of the way and done. And right when they get there, they fire their balls.
Yeah.
Your balls stay on the ground. You drive up with them. You stay about 10, 20 yards back, let them do their thing. And then right when they're off the green, you're back on the green. And it's kind of a pass and go, pass the torch. So at least, like, if it has to happen, you can do it effectively. A playthrough is always going to, backlog the course. And that's what Chris is saying. If there's groups 10 deep behind you, just not a logical situation to do it, because it's going to be too slow. But if it's only 1 or 2 behind you, if you just get off the green, keep playing, and then once they get there, it's like, okay, you guys go, we're good. They all hit, and then you move together. You just kind of stay right behind them and walk off together.
Thank you. I have a question that's really not necessarily having to do with what we're talking about, but it's about COVID. I got something this afternoon, just a few minutes ago, on my email, that the public courses are going to only allow people in the same family to play together. Have you heard anything about that? Are there any
That was
changes?
on mine too.
yeah, so actually we just sent a notice to everybody playing golf tomorrow that anybody that comes on property at Hillcrest now has to wear a mask the entire time. There is no you can't take it off when you're out playing golf. So just be aware that when you do come out to play golf from now until this health order is over, you will have a mask on.
Oh,
Right
really?
now, we are the club is seeking clarification on what you have just received from the city's golf courses about basically only members of the same household can play together. So right now, the clubs as a whole, so if you talk to Riviera, Bel Air, Brentwood, right now they are all going with how we are currently playing golf, and everybody's wearing a mask is the main thing. Some clubs have taken away the guest policies. They just have restricted guests at 100%. We just have left everything the same, and we will kind of see where the county ends up, after we get the clarification on everything. But for right now, we are going with 100% masks, whether you're practicing, getting a golf lesson, whether you're out on a golf course and you're playing with you could be playing with your husband and they want you to have a mask on at 100% of the time. So, it's not us, it's coming from the county, the health department. So I think it will affect some of the people playing golf out here, because it's probably not the most comfortable thing to do for 18 holes. So
Thank you.
yeah.
And the guest policy, we're supposed to play at Lakeside. Do you think they will not allow guests, or how do we find out?
I think Lakeside is supposed to. The only club I know that took away guests was Brentwood.
Okay.
I'm not aware of anybody else's yet. So, but that's each club has their own own group that's going to guide them on their decisions.
Are all the clubs saying you have to wear a mask? Is that now the protocol for everybody?
That is the protocol.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
LA does not have gas.
LA Country Club?
Not
I think
now.
as of today, they do.
For golf?
Yes.
Not, well, the women didn't.
Huh?
That's per the county that you have to
Yeah,
wear.
per the county starting today, everybody has to wear masks. So that's all the clubs have been the GMs have been chatting about all the different.
Are you going to send an email out about that?
It goes out with your tea time now.
Oh,
Thank
if you
God
do
they're
your
not
tea time
taking golf
reservation.
away.
What?
Thank God they're not taking golf away. I'd wear 2 masks to keep playing golf.
Well, the golf might go away. I don't know about that one. That's out of my hands.
So Chris, is there any consideration then for maybe allowing carts for those under 60 so that we don't have to have so we don't keel over on the golf course wearing a mask walking up those hills?
Unfortunately, not at the moment. So they're yeah, I'd love to say that we could, but I think they don't want 120 carts out here on the golf course every day, and that's because that you basically what's happening at the golf course, and you can see the drive on and drive offs are all turning into mud, and so if you keep doing that, you'll never grow grass in those areas. So you're compacting the area, and it's more of an agronomic issue than it is anything. So it's just the COVID not having. I can't put 2 people in a cart right now, and that's our issue.
Yeah. To change back to pace of play, could you just go over how you calculate what your maximum number of strokes allowed for you on a hole before you pick up? I know it's double bogey, but how?
Yeah, I mean, not double bogey, but really it's I mean, the other day I played hole 12, right? And I hit my ball short left of the green. I hit my ball, I tried to hit it onto the green, it spun it back into the bunker. Hit my next ball out of the bunker, about a gazillion feet away from the flag. Then I putted my ball up. I still had like 12 feet left. I putted it close and I just picked it up. I was done. So and everybody else was playing their game as I was having my issues on the golf course. No one was waiting for me. So that's how, like, when Travis is talking about, being ready, if someone is having a major, what I call a meltdown or just an issue on a hole, I mean, for me to take a 7 on a hole, it's going to happen. It happens to everybody, but it's not like everybody's waiting for me and watching me do every single shot. I just, I hit my ball to the bunker and then I take my time to get over to get my putt. Everybody else is already putting, they're putting out. And so basically I'm the last person to finish the hole. So that's really how you do it. When you want to pick up, that's kind of up to each individual. I think it's really kind of set by, I think, where your typical score is. So, whether you pick up and you write down an 8 or you pick up and you write down a 10, it's not going to really affect your handicap at all because there's a maximum set up on your handicap anyway. So the only time that we say that you can't pick up is really in the club championship. When you do a medal play round, that's the only time we tell you not to pick up. Other than that, if you want to pick up on hole 2 because you've already hit 6 shots and you still haven't made the green yet for whatever reason, pick up and just write down a 6 or a 7, whatever your double net bogey is, and that's it. So that's how I would do it. And if you feel like you're just taking a long time, and that's usually a good sign that it's time to pick up and just move on to the next hole. Resetting is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So I have a question, and this has to do with handicap. If you have, let's just say I were to go out and shoot 102, and then I put that in, how does that affect I don't usually shoot that. How does that affect my handicap?
So typically the way the handicaps are calculated, it's going to take your 8 best scores out of the last 20.
Oh, okay.
So that 102 is not going to matter at all.
Okay.
Now, if I take that and I turn that into a 72, that's a little something different. That will definitely affect your handicap. But when you have a bad score and you have a bad day, it doesn't really affect your score.
Okay.
At all. So.
Yeah, because I just see that little thing and I thought it's just your last group.
No, it does not. Yeah. So it's your last 8 scores. And so it just takes a little calculation with it. And what's nice is it's that differential between your best score and your worst scores in that top 8. And that's how they kind of figure it out with the course ratings and the slope. It's a math calculation. It's a little more complicated now because it takes into effect the course rating of a golf course. And so you find out that you're like a lot higher handicap when you play, from the number 1 tees, whereas before you didn't have that ability.
Okay.
So.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions? Questions for Chris, Travis?
I have a question. In the golf shop, do you have a computer that shows all the activity, where the carts are, where the walkers are? You can see
Not
that.
the walkers. Yeah, it doesn't show the walkers.
Okay, so if you see though that there's 2 holes in front of a group, and you know that that's not a good thing, would you just automatically send somebody out and tell the group who's 2 holes behind to hurry it up?
So Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we actively monitor the golf course on hand. We go out there from about 8 in the morning till 1 o'clock. We're out there every hour looking to make sure the golf course is flowing. And if we need to keep doing that in the afternoon, we will. But we use the Visage. It's a computer program that just monitors where the carts are. It will turn a cart red when it goes too slow, like if the group's out of position. And so we can kind of pinpoint that area. But when they're all green, it's it is what it is. So what happens sometimes, and I think this happens especially during the weekdays, is what we see is we get phone calls about, hey, you know what, Chris Miller's group is, so far out of position. What people don't realize is that I started off at 8 o'clock. The group in front of me started off at 7:30. There are going to be 2 holes in front of me, open. That's just how it is. Now, if I'm a 2-ball, that gap is going to be, I can close that gap pretty quick. But if I'm 4, we're not going to really close that gap ever. And so if I have a 2-ball behind me and they see that, or a 3-ball or a 4-ball that's maybe a little bit faster, a little bit, just moving along a little bit better than we are, they look at it and say, hey man, Chris is like really terrible. He's 2 holes behind. That's not the way to approach it, because you just don't know, like the group, you could look at the tee sheet today and you see that, Patty Nichols on the tee sheet with 3 other women, but they may have never showed up for the tee time. And so then, that group now has a full group. They got a full hole open in front of them at all times, if
Okay.
it doesn't show. So that it's probably better to, when you approach that, when you have that question, you can approach that, say, hey, I just wanted you to be aware, I think this group, I'm not sure if this group's out of position, maybe they're not. That's where, if it's a slow day like that, there might be the opportunity for that group that's, has 2 holes open in front of you to let that group go through for that day. But like on a Saturday morning, that's just not really an option. And you won't see that kind of opening typically, but we are actively monitoring it. If you get a group out there that 2 or 3 people have one really bad hole, if you get to hole 5 and 3 of them hit it up to the right, it's going to take a little time to get through the hole 5 just because of where they hit their golf ball. They got to climb up the hill because you can't drive the cart up there. A lot of things that kind of go into when you do have a bad shot, and the entire group kind of culminates and has a bad shot at the same time. So. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Anybody else? Questions?
I have
Okay.
to work.
All right.
Thank you.
For doing.
All right. Well, thank you all for
Thank
joining.
you so much.
Yeah, if you ever have questions,
Chris.
stop by Travis, myself, and CJ. We'll glad to help you out and kind of guide you along on how to maneuver stuff. So never take offense if someone wants to play through. It's not a big deal. It's just it's more to me, I use it as a wake up call. Hey, maybe we are kind of slow and we just kind of didn't realize it, and just use that as an opportunity to get faster. So that's what I would do.
But Chris, if someone's a twosome in back of you and you're a foursome, obviously it's going to take longer for you to play than the twosome. So how do you balance that out?
Well, we pair as many groups as we can together if that opportunity happens. But you know, if there is room in front of you, it's better to let that 2-ball go, because it's just a more enjoyable experience for you. It's definitely more enjoyable for that 2-ball. But sometimes, you know, I've been out here and I've been out there rangering before or marshaling, and I say, hey, you should ask that group through to play through, and they say, yeah, we already did, and they didn't want to play through. And so okay, so then that it is what it is. I mean, you just never know. But it is always, I think it's nice to, you know, to be polite and you know, just be aware of where you are on the golf course. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, if you look at it and you have, after when you get done with through hole 4, you should be done with through hole 4 in less than an hour. So it should be about 50 minutes. And then, you know, after seven holes, you should be on the 8th tee box with 30 minutes to spare. So that's how I would look at that. So just kind of be aware of your position on the golf course. If there is a group coming up from behind, then we can deal with that as that comes. But don't take offense if someone wants to play through. It's not.
And then you tell us on the screen if we're lagging behind.
We tend to send a message right away, and then we will actually come out and talk to the groups as well if need be, just to kind of, you know, we don't want to make any, you know, we're here to have fun. I mean, that's really the reason why you belong here to Hillcrest. The reason why you belong to any club is to have a really enjoyable experience. You're here with a bunch of people that are like-minded. You're here, you know, whether you're playing golf or you're here playing cards, it's all about the enjoyment of the place. It's not to get ruffled because, hey, that's CJ in front of me. You know, I wish CJ would just play faster. He just never does. It's not about that. You know, it's just
Yes, CJ.
you can't get mad at people.
Well, I think
you know,
they're
you never know. I mean,
terrific.
CJ could be a fast player, and he just had a rough day on the golf course, and he took a lesson from myself, or he took one from Travis. Just it is what it is. So
Funny,
we've
Chris.
all had those days. So
Okay.
all right,
Thank you.
all right. Well, have a great
We're
great evening.
enjoying the clinics.
Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's helpful. A good.
Right.
I'd like you to have some on Wednesdays and Fridays in the mornings.
Yeah, we gotta have some space. So yeah, we just don't have enough space for everything right now. But hopefully, when this is all over, we can make it happen. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Chris, thanks, CJ. Thanks,
All right.
Travis.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.